Welcome to Subramani. I will be doing many posts saying improving as an investor, because as and when I think of what you can do as an investor, I'll create a video. Some of it is there in my blog, which is subramani.com, and I could have written this in 2012, 2017, 2022. Just go and check on my blog. Some of these articles would be there. So first of all, how do you improve as an investor? There are various things that you can do. Look at it from a running point of view. Suppose you've signed up for a marathon, and somewhere at the 19th kilometer you start wondering, why did you sign up for 42? Why could you not have done 21? If it was just 21 kilometers, you had just 2 more kilometers to go, and end of it would all be over. So the mind is constantly telling you to do less than what you wanted to do. So if you're doing 21, maybe at 10 you will start getting the feeling, I wish I was doing a 10k and not a 21k, right? Now think of what happens to people who run ultra marathons. Somebody who's running say 89 kilometers, that is called the comrades, right? So somewhere the mind is saying, are you mad? You were very happy running half, then you were running full. Why would you want to double this? So the mind is constantly telling you this. Now similarly, investing is pretty boring, right? You can't just put your money in shares and do nothing else, because you're sitting all day in a position and you're just waiting to watch your money grow, and money is going to grow very simply, very slowly, right? One of the big reasons why Buffett is so successful is because he started at 11 and he's living till 91. So 80 years of compounding. Not any of us we can think of 80 years of compounding, right? That's multi-generational for most people. So what all can you do to become a good investor? That's where we started. First of all, read more, and read on everything. Doesn't really matter. And apply your mind to it. Why are you reading? It could be a book on cookery. You could be watching a YouTube cookery thing and relate it to investments. You could be reading Soros. You could be reading Buffett. You could remember most literature in investing has been created during the bull period of US. So which includes the current period. So US had the complete, to use the best Indian term, dadagiri, that they could exploit the whole world, whether it was Africa, Asia, Europe. They exploited and they created. They have tremendous influence over you and me. They have soft power. When we search for something, we say, why don't you Google it? Why don't you, how many of us say we don't even use the word courier, right? We just say, just send it by Blue Dart, or by, that kind of hold that they have on the language that we use. If you've forgotten the word fridge, the word FRIDGE is a word which belongs to GE, right? You say, "Asa iska Xerox kar do." Xerox is an American word. They have completely invaded us. If you're using WhatsApp, if you're using YouTube, if you're using Microsoft, they have invaded us. So remember, it is all done during the bull phase of the American dream, or the American investing dream. So be careful to read books from Europe. Be careful to read books from India, because that will give you a greater variety. You do not know how tough it was if you were investing in 1929 or 1943 or any of those times, right? So read a bigger variety. Read books on, like say, Shackleton's Ways. You read about and you see how to do an adventure. You read Mein Kampf. You know what Hitler was thinking, right? So take in a lot of books and just read anthropology to zoology, like somebody says. Read as much as you can. Read history, read geography, read adventure, read autobiographies. Just have fun reading, right? And also remember, when you're reading articles or books written by or influenced by a Buffett or a Soros, remember that there is tremendous amount of PR done in that. It is not just their thoughts which are coming to you. A lot of it is PR work also. So remember what you read, how much you can remember, how much you can interpret, how much you can use. Everything is important. Also, when you read about Buffett and people tell you he's so simple, true, he's so simple, but his food is very unhealthy, right? So the question is, what do you pick from whom? Just because an investor is big, it does not mean he has good dress sense or he has got good sense about how to eat. A big fat investor is a very poor signal. It's in fact telling you that he's very disciplined in his investing and he's not at all disciplined in his eating, right? So everything that you read, you need to read with a pinch of salt, and you need to have your own bullshit detector to know what is good and what is bad. I remember when a very big international investor took a stake in an insurance company in India. He said that your lips are very good. Donald Trump said Indian property market is extremely underpriced when he wanted to sell Trump Tower in India, right? So be careful about what you hear, because you have to have your bullshit detector up always. Review every share that you have on a regular basis and ask yourself, if I had to allocate money, if I had 20 lakhs, would I buy the same share again? If I had only 5 shares to hold, would this share be there? So, right, make it as strict as possible. So if you have 100 shares, pick up the 100th share and say, do you have conviction in this exactly the same way you have in your share number 1? If the answer is no, let it go. Set for yourself a target. Let me come down from 100 to 90 over a period of 6 months, which means every month you have to get rid of 1 share. If a gun were put to your head and said, "Ek share becho," which is the share that you will sell, that share has to go, and that money has to go into the best share with the highest conviction that you have, right? And if the conviction is getting over, then you will have to sell. For example, you bought Indigo at 850 because that was the time when it was beaten down, and it has now gone to 1700. You're happy that your money has doubled in 1 year. Get out, unless you think, though, when I buy shares at this rate because it has been beaten down, I want at least 3x, so I will sell it at 2500, whatever it be. Be clear about it, write it down. That is again very useful. And when you're revisiting it, have very, very solid reasons to revisit it. Don't just because the price has gone up, it does not make it a good buy, right? Get contrarian views on everything. Get contrarian views on COVID, and you say how COVID has impacted and improved people, how it has destroyed people. Talk to doctors, take a 360-degree turn. I remember we took data from a guy who was handling the ICU of very, very big hospital in a foreign land. And he was telling us 90% of the people are dying and 100% of the people are dying. Then we realized that he was a super specialist and only the worst cases were being sent to him. So when you get data, remember what kind of data you are getting and how to use it. Get a contrarian view on everything, and you will just love me for it. You will thank me, because that is the way where you will be able to pick some stock like this, and then you have good fund managers who will do it for you, right? We have another problem that we can go through a very complacent phase saying, oh, this share cannot do badly, right? Don't make that mistake. It may be doing badly, it may be doing well, it will go through ups and downs. You see how it is meeting your goals. If it is, let's say you are 65 years of age and you have a very complex portfolio, and your wife is just not interested in looking after it, you have got to simplify it when you are alive. You cannot postpone that and say, oh, it's a simple portfolio. It was simple for you. Ask your wife whether it is simple. Ask your wife to handle it for 1 day, and you pretend to be dead, which means she can't ask you why is she doing, what she should do, nothing. So ask her. If she is not interested, it has to be a bank fixed deposit, index fund, and an annuity plan. That's it. If that is what she wants, give it to her, right? All of us can go through a good phase and a bad phase. When you're going through a good phase, anything that you touch turns to gold, and when you're going through a bad phase, anything that you touch turns to coal, right? So be very careful about that. Understand that there will be such phases in everybody's life, in everybody's investment life also. And if you have goals nearby, get out of volatile asset classes. Don't judge yourself constantly and very harshly, and you don't have to do a portfolio evaluation on a daily, weekly, hourly basis. I keep telling this to fund managers. If you start giving daily NAVs, people will compare. If you start giving hourly NAVs, they will still compare and say, at 2 o'clock Prashant Jain had good NAV, at 3 o'clock it's dipped, and there could be a full TV series on that, or there could be articles on that, and there would be interviews, and they say, do you think Prashant Jain has slipped? At 2 o'clock he had a good NAV, at 3 o'clock he had a bad NAV. That kind of a regular assessment happens for fund managers. Lucky for you and me, we are not evaluated on hourly basis or daily basis, and that can be sickening. If you can meet your goals and sleep well, that is the best indication you have a good portfolio. However, if you get up at 2 a.m. wondering whether you have too much in equity, or that yields are so low, why you have so much in debt, etc., etc., and on a portfolio which is say 20 crores, and you don't really care what happens simply because you have much more than enough, then something is wrong with your asset allocation. Check your asset allocation, right? So asset allocation is very important to give you peace of mind also, right? So somebody like me can have peace of mind even if my portfolio goes down 20%. I don't really need asset allocation. But if you need asset allocation, do it by all means. And there is nothing called perfect asset allocation. Don't chase the perfect asset allocation. There is nothing called perfect asset allocation. Read books on behavioral finance. Catch yourself while you are making the mistake of confirmation bias, or saying, oh, I already have it, so let me add to it, which is sunk cost, right? Check out on all that and realize that not everything that we learn about behavioral finance we will be able to implement, but at least you can watch yourself making those changes in your life which are very important to become a good investor. That's it. I'll come up with more. Thank you.